Kyle Broad, I'm Cruiser Customizing.
Gregory Beck with Tucker Rocky Distributing.
On this week's Wednesday with Greg, we want to talk a little about motorcycle trips and what you take with you in the case of an emergency.
And trust me, just when you think everything's going good, shit happens.
So this last weekend I was out in the desert riding across Death Valley, and one of the guys I was with broke his engine. He came down, his skid plate hit a rock and it cracked the motor and all of his oil drained out. Now, if it was just him on the road, he would have been stranded in the middle of Death Valley.
Yeah, so what do you do in a case like that? First thing is that you stop and think, what is the most rational thing to do?
So at that particular time, I had tow straps and was prepared to tow his motorcycle out of the desert. After looking at the map, it was about 70 miles until we hit pavement. That wasn't really going to be effective. It was already almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we had to make sure that we got to pavement before it got dark.
Yeah, so first thing you want to do is identify where you at when you start. Where is the bike? Because you're probably going to want to go back and get it. So you better know exactly where your vehicle is, or to be able to tell somebody where it is.
So we ended up leaving the bike in the desert for 48 hours. He jumped on the back of my bike and we rode out of the desert. Now, the bike was safely there, 48 hours later. There was tracks around it. The animals had checked it out because they were curious. But we ended up coming back with a Jeep and a Jeep trailer in order to pick it up. So those things are things that you don't normally run into. But when out there on the road, some sort of tow strap is definitely a good thing to have with you. Tires are one of the most common things that go out. So some sort of tire repair kit and a pump. You got to be able to put air back into your tires. That's imperative. Oil is a good thing.
Yep.
Now, you had oil with you on your trip that you just came back from, so can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, well, what happened was we were on a 10-day trip. Everybody had RideOn in their tire, so the tire problem wasn't going to happen. At a gas station outside of Flagstaff, all of a sudden there's a pool of oil underneath my bike.
No.
So we quickly came to the idea that the rear drive shaft seal was leaking. So I promptly went into my case, pulled out some gear oil, and topped it off. Rode into Flagstaff, and we kept going, and I would just top it off every now and then.
So that's a really quick thing I want to touch on, Greg. So you may not be able to fix the problem out there on the road, but if you have the tools necessary, such as oil in this case, you can continue to fill that case so your bike has the proper amount of oil to be able to function and get you down the road until you can get it professionally repaired.
Yeah, I probably could have done the whole trip just by doing what I was doing, but I stopped in Santa Fe and left it with the dealer for him to fix it, and got going later that day. Then I had to meet up with my friends in a different state at a different time, but our trip continued. It was a lot of fun.
Another experience that I've had recently is a radiator hose that got a hole in it, or actually a crack where the clamp was, that was leaking water. So we had water with us, so we were able to fill the radiator with water in order to keep the bike going. And I had an item called rescue tape. Rescue tape is a silicone, not really a tape, and you stretch the silicone and it adheres to itself. It wraps liquid when it's wet, so the pipe or the hose was wet. We were able to wrap it and seal it off completely. It's melt resistant. It's a great item to have in your saddlebags or tank bag because it can fix lots and lots of things.
Yeah, having the capacity on your bike to carry your tools is important. So when you're taking off, don't think about just your clothes and things like that. Think about things you might want to carry or have room to carry in the event of an emergency.
Another key thing, we were riding with the guy one day and he got a flat tire. And we didn't have the tools with us in order to be able to take the wheel off of the motorcycle. Whereas if we could take the wheel off, we could have just thrown it on the back, he could have held it, we could have ridden it into town, got the tire repaired, got the wheel fixed, and ridden back out to the bike, attached it, and then continued on our trip. In that instance, we had to ride into town to where we get cell reception, get a tow truck, come back and pick the bike up, and it completely ruined that day of riding.
Yeah, be prepared to work on your bike, have the tools. If you don't have a good toolkit, find one. We sell them, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a couple main toolkits that I really like and maintenance items all come from both BikeMaster and CruzTools. CruzTools has bike-specific or genre-specific toolkits. You've got Harley kits, you got metric kits, and then you've got European kits. So it's a really great way to get the perfect tools for your perfect machine.
I use mine a lot on this trip.
That's awesome.
Yeah, worked good.
Another thing you should probably always carry with you is a first aid kit. Now once again, it's not one of those things that you plan on using, but in the case that you need some sort of medical attention, be it a wrap to keep something from bleeding, a Band-Aid, maybe some alcohol prep pads, things to keep infection down, gauze. A first aid kit is a great thing to keep in your saddlebag, tank bag, or wherever you backpack, anywhere that you can store it just in case an emergency arises.
Yeah, and it might not necessarily be for you. It might be for somebody you come across.
So as motorcyclists, we tend to help each other out, whether we're getting the assistance or whether we're providing assistance to somebody else. Being prepared to be able to help somebody in the case of need or to be able to help yourself is always an important thing to remember, take care of, to plan for when taking a motorcycle adventure.
Sure makes it a lot more fun.
Thank you for watching this week's Wednesday with Greg.
And ride safe.